Picture this. 15 CEOs from around the world sitting in our biggest conference room, $2.4 billion worth of manufacturing deals spread across the table. Pens out, ready to sign, and that's when this 29-year-old kid decides to fire me in front of everyone. Security will escort you out, Tank, right now. Austin Reynolds didn't whisper it. He wanted the whole room to hear. Wanted these international business leaders to witness what he called transitioning to digital native leadership. I'm Robert Mitchell. People call me Tank. I'm 49 years old, and I just watched my 22-year career get executed in public. But here's the thing Austin didn't know. I saw this coming 6 months ago. And the trap I built, he just walked right into it. Let me back up and tell you how I got here. I did 2 tours overseas, Iraq first, then Afghanistan. Came back in 2005 with a head full of leadership training and zero patience for corporate nonsense. The Marines taught me how to read people, assess threats, and plan for contingencies. Turns out those skills translate pretty well to international business. I started at Titan Industries as a junior project manager, nothing fancy. But I had this advantage. I understood that in business, just like in the military, it's all about relationships and trust. You can't fake that stuff. You can't download it or post about it on LinkedIn. You have to earn it. My first big break came 3 years in. There was this deal in Osaka with a Japanese steel consortium. 3 different guys had tried to close it before me, and all 3 had failed. Cultural barriers thicker than their armor plating, my boss said. So I did what any Marine would do. I prepared. Spent 2 weeks learning basic Japanese. Not fluency, just enough to show respect. I studied their business customs, their decision-making process, their whole approach to partnerships. The day of the meeting, instead of showing up with PowerPoints and pie charts, I brought blueprints. Real engineering drawings. I sat down with their lead engineer and showed him exactly how their steel would integrate with our manufacturing process. Talk specifications, quality tolerances, long-term maintenance schedules. We went 23 hours straight. At 3 a.m., when everyone else was dead on their feet, I caught something their translator missed. One word that would have killed the whole deal, fixed it on the spot. We shook hands as the sun came up. $400 million contract, still running today, 19 years later. That's how you build a reputation in this business. One impossible deal at a time. One relationship at a time. One handshake at a time. Austin Reynolds built his reputation on TikTok videos about disrupting legacy thinking. The kid came to us 14 months ago, fresh from a Silicon Valley startup that burned through $50 million in venture capital before collapsing. The board hired him because he could speak millennial and bring innovative perspectives to traditional manufacturing. What he brought was a lot of buzzwords and zero understanding of how real business actually works. The warning signs started early. Small cuts disguised as organizational optimization. First, he hired Jennifer Walsh as Strategic Innovation Director. She was 26 years old with an MBA from Stanford. Great at creating PowerPoints about synergy and paradigm shifts. Couldn't negotiate a lunch order without 3 committee meetings. Then came the generational leadership assessment. That's corporate speak for how fast can we push out anyone over 45. I kept my mouth shut and watched. In the Marines, they teach you to observe before you act. Study the battlefield before you make your move. Austin started using military terms, but he used them wrong. We need to pivot and attack new verticals, he'd say. Or legacy thinking is the enemy of innovation. This kid had never served a day in his life. Never led men in actual combat. Never made decisions where lives hung in the balance. But he'd read some leadership book and thought he understood strategy. I started planning my own strategy 6 months ago. I was reviewing the preliminary contracts for this massive international deal we'd been building. Austin was in another meeting about brand refresh initiatives and stakeholder engagement optimization. While he was worried about Instagram content, I was thinking about something I'd learned in Afghanistan. What happens when you lose your commanding officer in the middle of a mission? Everything falls apart, the whole operation gets compromised. So I added some language to our contracts: professional, neutral. If the designated primary negotiator is replaced or removed before final execution, all memorandums of understanding become null and void. I didn't present it as protection for me. That would have raised red flags. Instead, I made it about respecting their investment. When I was on a call with Klaus Weber in Munich, I put it this way: Klaus, your company is investing months of work in this partnership. You deserve consistency from our side. With Hiroshi Tanaka in Tokyo, Hiroshi San in manufacturing, relationships are built on reliability. This clause protects that. With Paolo Rossi in Milan, Paolo, trust requires continuity. This ensures you're not dealing with surprises. One by one, they agreed. They understood what I was really doing. Some of them appreciated the quiet leverage it gave them. Others just saw it as good risk management. Austin signed off on the contract language without reading it. He was too busy planning his media strategy for the signing ceremony. The second part of my insurance plan was digital. Every final contract required my encrypted signature from a hardware security token, military-grade stuff. I'd implemented this system 3 years ago after we almost had a competitor slip in some falsified approvals while I was traveling. The system was bulletproof. Without my personal authentication, those contracts were just expensive paper. Austin inherited the system when he took over, never questioned it, probably never even understood how it worked. That token was in my briefcase every day, right next to my challenge coin from my old Marine unit. Earned, never given, engraved on one side. I should tell you about my family situation because it matters to this story. I'm divorced. Have been for 3 years. Got 2 sons, Mike, who's 24 and barely talks to me, and Danny, who's 19 and is starting to understand why his old man worked so hard all these years. The divorce was my fault. I chose work over family too many times, missed Danny's basketball games for deals in Singapore, missed Mike's graduation for a crisis in Munich. My ex-wife, Sarah, put up with it for 18 years before she'd had enough. You love your job more than your family, she told me the day she filed papers. She wasn't wrong. But what she didn't understand was that I was trying to build something that would last, something that would provide for them, even when I couldn't. Military guys understand sacrifice. We understand that sometimes you miss the birthday party because you're protecting something bigger. But civilian families, they don't always see it that way. Mike never forgave me for missing his college graduation. Had to fly to Zurich that weekend to save a deal that would have cost us $200 million if it fell through. By the time I got back, he wasn't taking my calls. Danny's been different. More understanding maybe because he's closer to the age when you start thinking about your own career, your own future. He's been asking me about business, about leadership, about what it takes to build something real, Dad. How do you know if someone's trustworthy in a negotiation? He asked me last month, you watch what they do when they think nobody's watching, I told him. Character shows up in the details. I'd been watching Austin for months, studying his patterns. The kid had tells, just like any amateur poker player. He'd get this look in his eyes when he was planning something. Started using phrases like streamlining operations and optimizing human capital. Human capital. That's what he called the people who'd built this company. 3 weeks before the big signing, I found out just how far he was willing to go. My assistant Rachel Morrison slipped me a copy of an email Austin thought he'd deleted. Subject line: transition documentation, Astor conference room event. The email laid out his whole plan, camera angles for the leadership moment, where the photographer should stand to capture the changing of the guard, even what he wanted to say to make it look decisive and forward-thinking. He wanted my firing documented, packaged, turned into content for his personal brand. That's when I knew this wasn't just about replacing me. This was about humiliation, about making an example, about showing everyone that experience and loyalty meant nothing in his new world order. But Austin made one crucial mistake. He never bothered to understand the systems he inherited. See, when you're dealing with international partnerships worth billions of dollars, you don't just shake hands and hope for the best. There are protocols, security measures, fail-safes built into every major deal. I designed most of them myself over the years, learning from close calls and near disasters. Like the time we almost lost $400 million because someone in Berlin tried to alter contract terms while I was flying back from Seoul. After that, I made sure every critical agreement required multiple authentication steps. The encrypted signature system was my baby. Hardware token, biometric verification, the whole works. It took an act of Congress to get approval for military-grade security in a civilian company. But after that Berlin incident, the board gave me whatever I asked for. Austin inherited all of it when he took over my division. Signed off on maintaining the existing protocols because his lawyers told him it was bulletproof protection against fraud. What he didn't realize was that those same protocols could protect against internal threats too. The morning of the signing, I got to the office early. Not unusual, I've always been a 5:30 a.m. guy. Military habit, but today I wanted to make sure everything was in place. I walked through the Pinnacle conference room one last time. Marble floors, mahogany table that seated 30 people comfortably. Real wood, not the particle board stuff they use in most corporate offices. This was where serious business happened, where billion-dollar decisions got made by people who understood what they were doing. 15 seats around the oval table, each one marked with a small placard. Klaus Weber from Munich Steel Consortium, Hiroshi Tanaka from Tokyo Precision Manufacturing, Paolo Rossi from Milan Industrial Group. Names I'd been working with for years. Relationships built on trust, mutual respect, and shared understanding of what it means to do business at this level. Austin's placard sat at the head of the table. right where mine usually was. He'd had it specially made. Gold lettering on black marble. His new business cards were stacked neatly beside it. I adjusted my tie and checked my watch. E800 hours. The advance team from each company would arrive soon, followed by the principals at 0900, signing ceremony at 0933. Austin had scheduled a press conference for 1,000 hours, already had the press release drafted. Titan Industries announces historic $2.4 billion international partnership under new leadership. New leadership. Like the 22 years I'd spent building these relationships was just legacy deadweight. My phone buzzed. Text from Danny. Good luck today, Dad. Mike says he's proud of you too, even if he won't say it. That hit harder than I expected. Mike had been radio silent since the divorce. Blamed me for breaking up the family, for choosing work over being present. Maybe he was right. But maybe now he was starting to understand that sometimes you make sacrifices for reasons bigger than yourself. I walked to my office to grab my briefcase. The challenge coin was where I always kept it, in the small front pocket. I pulled it out, felt the weight of it, earned, never given on one side. The Marine Corps Eagle, globe, and anchor on the other. My unit commander gave me this coin the day I mustered out. Mitchell, he said, you've got leadership in your bones. Don't let the civilian world make you forget what that means. 22 years later, I was about to find out if I'd remembered the lesson. The first CEO arrived at 8:03, Klaus Weber, right on time. We'd worked together on 7 different deals over the past decade. The man was precision personified German engineering in human form. He noticed details other people missed, caught problems before they became disasters. Guten Morgen, Tank, he said, shaking my hand. Firm grip, eye contact. The way men used to do business before everything became virtual meetings and digital handshakes. Morning, Klaus. How was the flight from Munich? Long but productive. I reviewed our final specifications during the trip. Everything looks solid. He paused, studying my face. You seem different today. Focused. Klaus had good instincts. He'd survived 3 decades in international manufacturing by reading situations accurately, by understanding when something was off. Big day, I said. 22 years of work coming together. Indeed, this partnership will create jobs for both our countries. Real manufacturing, real value. He set his leather briefcase on the conference table. Not like these tech companies that produce nothing but algorithms and advertising. That's why I respected Klaus. He understood that business should build things, create value, employ people who did real work with their hands, not just shuffle money around or optimize user engagement metrics. Hiroshi arrived next, followed by Paolo. One by one, the conference room filled with men who'd flown halfway around the world to finalize agreements we'd been negotiating for 18 months. These weren't PowerPoint presentations or Zoom calls. This was old-school business, face-to-face negotiations where your word meant something, where relationships mattered more than quarterly reports. By 0900, all 15 CEOs were seated around the table, contracts stacked neatly in front of each position. Translation headsets for the 2 executives who preferred to work in their native languages. Everything organized, professional, ready for signatures that would move $2.4 billion and create 12,000 jobs across 4 continents. Austin walked in at 0903, flanked by Jennifer Walsh and 2 other members of his strategic innovation team. All of them young, all of them carrying tablets instead of briefcases, all of them looking like they'd rather be live streaming the meeting than participating in it. Gentlemen, welcome to Titan Industries, Austin announced, like he was hosting a tech conference instead of a manufacturing partnership signing. Today marks a new era in international cooperation and digital-forward business development. I caught Hiroshi's slight frown. Paolo shifted in his seat. Klaus kept his expression neutral, but I knew him well enough to recognize the signs. These men had flown across oceans to work with me, not to hear speeches about digital transformation from someone who'd never built anything real in his life. Austin spent the first 10 minutes talking about synergistic value propositions and leveraging cross-platform manufacturing ecosystems. Corporate speak that meant absolutely nothing to men who actually ran factories and moved raw materials across continents. I watched their faces. Klaus checked his watch twice. Hiroshi was taking notes, but not about Austin's presentation. He was sketching what looked like technical diagrams. Paolo leaned back in his chair with that particular expression Europeans get when Americans are being loud and saying nothing. Then Austin made his move. Before we proceed with signatures, I want to address an important transition in our leadership structure. He gestured toward me like I was a piece of furniture he was getting rid of. Tank has done valuable work in building these relationships, but Titan Industries is moving toward a more agile, digitally native approach to international partnerships. The room went completely quiet. You could hear the air conditioning humming, effective immediately. Tank will be transitioning out of his role. Security will escort him from the building so we can focus on moving forward with fresh perspectives and innovative thinking. That's when it hit me. He wasn't just firing me, he was doing it as part of the signing ceremony, making my removal into theater, into content for his personal brand. I didn't stand up right away, just sat there, feeling 30 pairs of eyes on me. The anger was there, sure, but underneath it was something colder, satisfaction, because Austin had just done exactly what I knew he would do. Klaus was the first to speak. His voice was quiet, precise. Mr. Reynolds, you are removing the primary negotiator while we are seated at the signing table. I understand this might seem abrupt, Austin started, but change requires decisive leadership. We're implementing next-generation partnership protocols that will revolutionize how international manufacturing collaborations function in the digital economy. More buzzwords, more empty corporate nonsense. Hiroshi cleared his throat. Austin-san, in Japan, we have a saying. When you change horses in the middle of a river, you often drown. Tank-san has spent 18 months earning our trust for this agreement. Trust is important, Austin replied, but so is innovation. Jennifer Walsh, our Strategic Innovation Director, will be taking point on all international partnerships moving forward. She brings fresh thinking and cutting-edge methodologies to the process. I almost felt sorry for Jennifer. She was standing behind Austin looking like she wanted to disappear. Smart enough to know this was a disaster in progress, not smart enough to have seen it coming. Paolo closed his folder, slow, deliberate. Mr. Reynolds, perhaps you do not understand how business is conducted at this level. We did not fly from Milano to sign papers with someone we have never met. I appreciate your concerns, Austin said, his voice getting a little higher. The first crack in his confidence, but I'm confident that once you understand our new approach, you'll see the value in modernizing these partnerships. That's when Klaus stood up. When a German industrialist stands up in the middle of a business meeting, it means something. It means the meeting is over. It means whatever you were trying to accomplish just failed. Tank, Klaus said, looking directly at me, not at Austin. I believe there is language in our agreement regarding continuity of negotiation personnel. There is, I said quietly. Paragraph 9 of the preliminary memoranda. If the designated primary negotiator is removed before final execution, all commitments become void. Austin's face went white. That's just standard legal language. We can modify that clause to reflect the new leadership structure. No, Klaus said simply. We cannot. Our board approved this partnership based on Tank's involvement. Without him, there is no deal. Hiroshi was already standing, bowing slightly toward me. Tank-san, it has been an honor working with you. Perhaps we will have opportunity to continue our business relationship in the future. That's when the dam broke. Paolo stood next. Then Carlos Mendoza from the Mexican Manufacturing Group. Then Lars Anderson from Copenhagen Steel. One after another, 15 of the most powerful manufacturing executives in the world stood up and walked away from $2.4 billion, not walked, strode with purpose. With dignity, with the absolute certainty that they were making the right decision. Austin's voice got desperate. Wait, please. We can work through this. I'm authorized to make any necessary adjustments to ensure continuity of our partnerships. But they weren't listening to him anymore. They were coming over to me. Klaus shook my hand first, firm grip, direct eye contact. Tank, my company would be honored to work with you in whatever capacity you choose next. Hiroshi was next. Tank-san, you have shown proper respect for our business culture. This will not be forgotten. Paolo clapped me on the shoulder. In Italy, we understand loyalty. Call me when you're ready to discuss new opportunities. One by one, they said goodbye. To me, not to Austin, not to Titan Industries. To me personally. Austin was still talking, still trying to salvage something. Gentlemen, if you'll just give me a moment to explain our strategic vision for the future of international manufacturing partnerships. But he was talking to empty chairs. The conference room had cleared out except for his innovation team, who were standing around looking like they just watched a plane crash. I finally stood up, picked up my briefcase, and headed for the door. Austin called after me, Tank, you can't just walk away. You have responsibilities to this company. Legal obligations. I turned around, looked him in the eye. Kid, I spent 22 years building relationships with those men. You just destroyed them in 22 minutes. My legal obligations ended the moment you decided to make this into a circus. Jennifer Walsh was staring at her tablet like it might have answers. The photographer Austin had hired was still standing in the corner, camera ready, waiting for the triumphant moment that was never going to come. As I walked out, I heard Austin on the phone with someone, probably legal. Get our contracts team on the line. We need to understand the enforceability of the continuity clauses and find out if we can challenge the validity of those authentication protocols. Too late for that, I thought. Way too late. The elevator doors closed, cutting off the sound of Austin's panic. I rode down 47 floors in complete silence, watching the city get bigger through the glass walls as I descended. My phone started buzzing before I reached the parking garage. Klaus Weber, Tank. Are you available for a conversation? My legal team has some questions about establishing an independent consulting relationship. Second call came before I could answer the first one. Hiroshi Tanaka. Tank-san, my board of directors would like to discuss retaining your services for our North American expansion plans. The compensation would be substantial. Third call, Paolo Rossi. Tank, my friend, I think you will find that loyalty is rewarded in ways you might not expect. By the time I reached my truck, my phone had 6 missed calls and 4 text messages, all from CEOs who had just walked out of the biggest deal in Titan Industries history, all of them wanting to work with me, directly. Without Austin Reynolds and his digital native leadership philosophy, I sat in my truck for a few minutes, letting it all sink in. 22 years of careful relationship building had just paid off in ways I never expected. Austin thought he could replace experience with enthusiasm, relationships with innovation, trust with technology. He learned today that some things can't be disrupted. Some things have to be earned. I started the engine and drove out of the Titan Industries parking garage for the last time. My phone kept buzzing with calls from international numbers. It was going to be an interesting few months. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my new office on the 52nd floor of downtown's newest building, corner suite with windows facing the harbor. I can see the docks where my first container ship from Japan arrived back in 2007. Full circle, you might say. Mitchell Strategic Partners. That's what I named my consulting firm. Simple, direct, no corporate buzzwords. The nameplate on my door is plain black with white letters. Nothing fancy. Just like the business itself. My first client was Klaus Weber. He flew in from Munich 2 days after the disaster at Titan. Sat right here in this office and laid out his proposal. Tank, my company needs someone who understands both technical specifications and cultural nuances. Someone who has proven he can be trusted. We are prepared to offer you an exclusive consulting contract worth more than your annual salary at Titan. More than my annual salary for one contract from one client. Within the first month, I had agreements with 8 of the 15 CEOs who walked out of that conference room. Not employment agreements, partnership deals. Equity stakes in major international projects, revenue sharing on successful negotiations. Turns out when you spend 22 years building real relationships, those relationships have real value. Who knew? The deal we closed last week was $2.8 billion. Bigger than what Austin lost. Same core group of manufacturers, but now we're building something more comprehensive. A true alliance that'll create manufacturing jobs in Ohio, Texas, North Carolina, and Alabama. Real jobs for real people who make real things. Danny came by the office yesterday, first time he's seen the setup. He walked around, looking at the conference room, the harbor view, the framed photos of groundbreaking ceremonies from projects I've worked on over the years. Dad, I get it now, he said, why you worked so hard, why you missed some of the family stuff. You weren't just doing a job, you were building something. That meant more to me than any contract signature ever had. Mike called last week, first time we'd talked in over a year. Dad, I heard what happened with your old company. Heard you landed on your feet. He paused for a long moment. I'm proud of you, for how you handled it, for not letting them break you. Sometimes it takes getting knocked down for people to see how you get back up. Austin Reynolds heard through the grapevine that the board fired him 6 weeks after the conference room disaster. Losing a $2.4 billion deal in front of 15 international partners tends to focus the mind. Last I heard, he's working for a logistics company in Phoenix. Middle management position, reports to a 58-year-old former Army colonel who doesn't care about social media metrics or digital disruption strategies. Sometimes the universe has a sense of humor. Jennifer Walsh stopped by last month, asked if I was hiring. Turns out strategic innovation director doesn't mean much when there's no strategy and no innovation, just a lot of PowerPoints nobody wanted to see. I told her the same thing I tell everyone who asks about working here. Respect isn't given, it's earned. Experience isn't a liability, it's your most valuable asset. And if you think you can shortcut your way to trust with buzzwords and technology, you're going to learn some expensive lessons. The challenge coin for my Marine unit sits on my desk now, right next to a pen Klaus Weber sent me. He'd left it on the conference table that day when he walked out. Sent it to me a week later with a note. This belongs to the man who kept his word. I keep both items where I can see them every day. Reminders of what matters. What lasts, what can't be faked or downloaded or optimized. The funny thing about Austin's digital disruption philosophy, he thought he could disrupt everything. Relationships, trust, the basic human need to work with people you respect and who respect you back. But you can't app your way to integrity. You can't live stream your way to loyalty. You can't hashtag your way to honor. Those things still have to be earned the old-fashioned way. One decision at a time, one relationship at a time, one day at a time. Sarah, my ex-wife, called last month, said she was proud of what I'd built. Said maybe I'd finally figured out how to balance work and family. Maybe she's right. I'm making more money working fewer hours, and I'm home for Danny's basketball games now. The partnerships I'm building now will outlast all of us. That's the difference between construction and disruption. Disruption tears things down. Construction builds things up, creates value that lasts generations. My secretary just knocked. Klaus is here for our quarterly review meeting. We're expanding the manufacturing alliance into Mexico and Canada. More jobs, more opportunities, more proof that experience and relationships still matter in a world obsessed with the next big thing. Austin thought he could replace 22 years of trust with 14 months of innovation. He learned that some things can't be disrupted. Some things are too valuable to throw away for the sake of looking modern. Character matters. Relationships matter. Your word matters. Whether you're 29 or 49 or 79, those fundamentals don't change. And when someone tries to tell you they don't matter anymore, when they try to convince you that loyalty is old-fashioned and experience is dead weight, remember what happened in that conference room. Remember that the most powerful business leaders in the world chose substance over style, chose the guy who kept his word over the kid who talked a good game. Listen, if you're reading this and you're over 45, working in corporate America, watching younger managers get promoted over you despite having half your experience, I want you to know something important. Your experience isn't outdated. Your relationships aren't old-fashioned. Your work ethic isn't obsolete. In a world full of people who think they can fake their way to the top with the right LinkedIn posts and buzzword presentations, authenticity is rarer than ever. That makes it more valuable, not less. Don't let anyone convince you that age is a liability. Don't let them tell you that digital native thinking matters more than actually knowing how to do the job. And never, ever let them make you apologize for earning your place through years of actual work, instead of months of good marketing. Build real relationships. Keep your word, show up every day, and do the work. And when some kid with an MBA and an attitude problem tries to push you aside for Instagram content, remember that character always wins in the end. It just takes a little longer sometimes.